Hey, what's going on, guys? All right, shall we get started? I feel like this is a bit harsh, perhaps. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back for another Gunpla critique. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I feel like my, well, it's not tone, but what is it? What would it be? My inflection, sort of, in my voice sounds a bit like brown sun. I don't know, sometimes, but anyway. How's it going, guys? Welcome. So if you are brand new to the channel and don't know what the heck we're doing here, Gunpla Critique is a way for me to critique some Gunpla and non-Gunpla plastic models, work that is submitted by my wonderful Patreon supporters. So if you guys are interested in joining Patreon so that you can just become a member there, you can also get in on the Discord that we have, and you can submit works for future episodes of Gunpla Critique. Mechadio, hello, been a long time. I'm doing well. I'm still tired, actually, from the convention over the weekend. That was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's now Wednesday morning. I still feel I'm not fully recovered from that, but feeling well enough. Working on some editing here today for a different video, but taking a break from that to hang out and do this, check out some works here. We have stuff to look at from 5 different modelers here. We're going to take a look at Genki's work first, and then I know Mafuyu is here, so we'll take a look at their work maybe right after. I'm not sure who else maybe here in the chat, but we'll get through this. We have work from some works that we've seen before that we're kind of seeing again now, completed. There's 2 of those, and then a build from our friend Chris Pabs here as well. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me get this first one up here on the screen for you guys. Damn. Regis, he's still tired from Omokantu. Yeah, it was a busy couple of days. The Tony Hawk of Gunpla. Oh, that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know if I've ever heard that before, that comparison. Thank you, Master Ninja. The Tony Hawk of Gunpla. Oh, that's pretty cool. I feel like, I don't know if my Gunpla talent level really matches as a comparison, but I kind of get what you mean there anyway. So I talked about this maybe the last episode, maybe the episode before that too, just because of a couple other works we've taken a look at in the past. But so this year is the year of the snake, and so we're doing kind of like a group build sort of in the Discord. There's a number of us working on different snake model kits. I still need to finish mine, yes, and hopefully I'll be able to finish that soon. But this is Genki's build here of the Nachin. What's this version of the Nachin called? I'm suddenly drawing a blank. But anyway, a Nachin kit here, Kotobuki 1/35 scale kit, transformed with snake seasoning to it. Just real quick there in the chat, Abby asking if I have reviewed the Hainu Burka. Yeah, very, very early in my channel. That actually was one of the first handful of reviews that I did long time ago. So yeah, I did. Let's see. Yeah, if you look on YouTube, you should be able to find it. You just search Master Grade Hainu Burka. It's probably under OOB, out of box review. Yeah. So anyway, let's take a look here. So Genki shared some information for us about the build and some different things that he had tried with this. Basically, rather than scribing these parts here on the front of the body, they're actually sculpted, and you can see that with some work in progress here. So he kind of mapped out the design on the kit itself there first, and then basically kind of made the sculpt kind of based off of that, and then I guess just kind of applied it to it. So here you can see just kind of sketching out the scale pattern there. on the torso, and then here that is with that applied. So I'm not sure exactly how that was done, how that was applied. I mean, it looks like it's just I'm not sure if this is just like a rolled like flattened and rolled bit of like I'm not sure, like putty or clay. I mean, it's not like regular putty. It could be like a different kind of like polyester putty, I'm wondering, or epoxy putty. It's just like rolled and then like half hardened so that it's like malleable but not totally hardened yet, and you can like kind of work with it in this fashion. I'm not sure. I don't think that he said in the email. But a couple of the other and the scale pattern was cut out using a Cricut. Cricut. You guys know the machine that you can like cut paper and stickers and stuff with. You like just feed it like a digital pattern and it just like cuts it out for you. One of those. And let's see. Yeah, he was concerned about like the 3 different types of scales working together, he said. So if you guys can see, by 3 different types of scales, basically we have like this type of scaling on the top, which is masked and painted. And then like the molded scales, here you can see a work in progress on like making the mask for that. So like laid all the tape out on the head first, which I mean you can't see that step just in this photo, but I'm sure that's what he did. Laid the pattern out on the head, and then put the tape, and then remove the tape, like lay the tape down flat. But in order to get it flat, you have to cut it. Basically, like kind of how when you like look at a map of the Earth, and when you see like the map of the Earth, that's kind of like strangely shaped or has like cuts kind of in it. It's just because it's like taking a rounded object and like laying it flat. You have to cut to like get it to go flat, that kind of thing. Basically, and then drawing out the pattern and masking that. And then the scales here on the arms, on the shoulder and the forearms also look masked, but in like a different way. I'm not sure if you mentioned in the email about how those were done. Anyway, I would assume in that case it's just like a net or something, just like stretch over the part when painted, and then like the molded scales. Personally, I think like the combination of different types of scales here in it it doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't look distracting. I mean, it's kind of like, I think it works better. I was thinking that it works better, it works well because this is like a Nachin kit. If you did this on like a Gundam kit and it was done in this way, I think it might not work as well. But because of the design of like the base kit, I think it works okay with just this part. Like this front part it's already like kind of like a separate part, right? So you can imagine this just being like a separate plate of the design, sort of like an armor plate that is actually like armored, and it makes sense because it's like right here in the front, right? And then the rest is just like a painted on design there, sort of. So no, I don't think it's distracting at all. He also said that he had melted the hands to adjust the shape of them, and wasn't too happy, wasn't completely happy with like the look of the hands, to give it sort of like a kung fu kind of stance. Yeah, kung fu snake style pose. So he looked up what an actual snake style kung fu pose looks like, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't have known that it's snake style, but I get it anyway. I still get the sentiment for that, and that's pretty cool as well. I do like that. Overall, the color I think is pretty nice. He didn't mention about like why necessarily the blue color, which is not necessarily like a color we typically kind of think of for like a snake. But I think it does look nice here on the kit. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like snake colored to like communicate that it's obviously very snake themed. And then like you have like the little bronze details, like from these little bronze bits here on the hand and head, down there on the side, and then the little bar added here at the back as well. I don't think that that's a part of the original kit, although I could be wrong. Maybe I'm forgetting, but I think that was also just added. But no, that looks very cool. And then the rock we can see, not from these photos, but from this photo, is set in like a little bit of like clear resin just to give it the appearance that it is floating, which is pretty cool as well. So that's nice. I'm not sure what the rock is made of. He didn't mention, I don't think. The small scales. Oh, okay. He's here. All right. Awesome. So maybe I missed something in the chat. Plot plate heated to curve. Okay, so the chest part that we were talking about. Sorry, Genki, I didn't know that you were here in the chat. Extra piece is just a test piece. Gotcha. Okay, just catching up in the chat here. The small scales were also a cricket stencil. Okay, not yeah, it looked a bit too clean, because typically like when it's like, you know, stretching like a fishnet over the part and like spraying over that, it's not usually like that clean. It looked pretty crisp to be like a fishnet stretched over that. So that's also crick cut. All right, gotcha. And let's see what else. Based it off of a blue racer snake. I'm not 100% sure it's real or not. All right. Well, like I said, either way, I mean, it still comes across completely snake themed, you know, even if it's not like a typical snake type of color. The rock is plaster over foam. Gotcha. All right. And I do really like the vegetation here on the rock. Also does look really nice. Nice mix of some different grasses with a little bits of flower in there, also just to help give it a little bit of color. I think it wouldn't look, you know, near as nice without the little splashes of kind of pinkish orange kind of flowers in there. So those are definitely a nice touch on that. No, I think it comes across. Fine. It looks good. See, just kind of referring back to the email. Didn't get a chance to nail down the eyes, and they're a bit flat and compete with the snake eyes design. I mean, just I also didn't really think that the eyes necessarily bothered me. I mean, like either the regular eyes or the snake eyes. I mean, I think that maybe, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying with it looking sort of a bit flat, maybe. Not really sure what necessarily could have been done for that. Maybe something like basically 3D sculpting, basically like what was here on the torso. Something not like completely over like the entirety of the head, but where was it good? Here we go. I guess this is the best photo. But like this, like the eyes, and then this first row of scales as like kind of a raised lip, as it were, just kind of over the top of that, and then like the rest of it could have been just like a masked pattern painted on there. But it could have been nice just to have like kind of a raised lip, sort of to match like the raised scales that are on the front of the body, just going on here, and then maybe like including the teeth and the fangs as like kind of a raised detail on the head. That could have looked kind of cool. The actual like robot eyes like in there, I mean, I think those look fine, just because that's just kind of generally how we're used to seeing the eyes on this kit, as just like kind of, it's like meant to be just like kind of a flat screen with just like the eyes on there. So I guess in that sense, if those were painted or maybe just like sprayed with a bit of like fluorescent paint or something, just like to give the sense that they're glowing without actually using like an LED or anything, but you can just, you know, paint it in a way to look like they're glowing. That could be kind of cool. Perhaps. But anyway, I think still it's a very cool build. I like the pose. It's not like kind of what you might typically see for something, but with it being a snake stance pose, just kind of helps to kind of complete the look overall. And you know, I'm not usually a huge fan of like all metallic stuff, but I think the metallic color scheme and everything they went for with this does look pretty nice. Here we just, in this photo, you can see it in just kind of like a regular stance, right? Which I still think it looks pretty cool there like that, but it definitely is a nice touch having it in the snake stance there for sure. So I like it. Is it like permanently fixed to there? Like have you pinned the foot to the rock in some way, or it's just balanced on there? Because I guess, you know, if you're not yet decided on one particular pose, or the foot is pinned, okay, yeah, I would worry about it falling off. But if you're not set on one particular pose, the advantage of not pinning it is then, I mean, you could like switch up the pose, but if you're pretty set, at least on like 1 foot's position, you could still change the pose, you know, leaving 1 foot pinned and then 1 foot free to adjust, you know, if you wanted to kind of change up the pose a little bit. That is an option. And that I'm wondering if that's almost what it is, if this front foot is pinned. Fell off a lot, yeah. That why? Okay, yeah. I noticed this here, so he's mentioning about that. That's why it has this little scratch there. That's from one of the times when it toppled off the base, unfortunately. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, that sucks, but I like this like small little bronze detail there as well. Is also pretty nice. Only the back foot is pinned. All right, gotcha. So, yeah, very cool. I like it. Thank you for sharing. We'll do a recap later on once I'm done with my snake build. I'm not sure who else is maybe still working on one that we haven't seen yet. I'll have to double check in the Discord and see who else, if anyone, is still working on a snake build. It may just be me. I might be the last one that's not finished yet. But assuming that there's someone else that is, hang on, let's see. All right, then in that case, we will we'll take a look at we'll like do a different video where we'll kind of recap all the snake builds. Something I'll just do like a recorded video, maybe. All right, let's take a look at Mafuyu's next. We have some G-Quax stuff here, mostly the HG G-Quax. Thank you, Genki, for the submission and for being here in the chat to be able to answer some questions on that too. Thank you. All right, let's see. Mafuyu's got the HG G-Quax here, but painted to be anime accurate, so you can see in like the comparison photo here with the painted kit, with in particular like all these little details and stuff that you're just not going to get on the HG kit or on the unpainted kit anyway. So you can see the two of them here side by side. This one's just assembled with the stickers, whereas this one's painted and like with the decals and stuff on it and everything. So it's actually more accurate there. So we can see there's a couple of comparison photos, so you can really kind of see the difference between the two. This is one of the things about this design. It's just a very busy design. I mean, even the unpainted kit, I mean, it's very busy, right? So it's almost kind of hard to notice. It's only when like you look more closely and you see like, okay, the unpainted kit doesn't have like the little bolts on the V-fin painted, the little vents on the side of the head that are supposed to be yellow, these little accents on the shoulder that are supposed to be yellow, a bunch of stuff on the shield. I know that he's working a lot. We'll come back to some of this other stuff. I want to see the photo on the inside of the shield, if we have one. I don't know if we have a better photo kind of like other than this, but you can see, I know that they worked a lot on painting the colors on the inside of the shield. There was a lot of masking involved for that, but I mean, you can imagine there was a lot of work masking a lot of these details here, like on the backpack as well. In particular, there was a photo showing the backside, so you can see like from the unpainted kit, you can see how the backpack's quite noticeably different there, for sure. The handles of the beam sabers as well. Like how the hell all weight is supported on those feet. yeah, the feet are certainly unique. Certainly a unique aspect of the design, for sure. You kind of imagine that it's more so very meant for like, you know, like space combat, much more so than for like ground combat, because moving through space, you know, there's that whole argument of like, why do you even need legs or feet on a mobile suit that's just going to be operating in space, right? But in this sense, like, it has feet, so if it needs to land or if it needs to walk or whatever, it can, but it's kind of mostly meant for just flying around. So definitely a big improvement. One of the things you can see, like even on the inside of the feet there, painting that to look like it's sort of like glowing as if like the thruster is working there on the inside of the feet. Yeah, one of the things that I definitely knew was going to be a big challenge with this kit would be painting it to try to get it to be, you know, even close to anime accurate. And you can see there's a lot of little work that had to have been done on this. Kicking is always an option in space. Yes, that's true. What's going on, George? Welcome. Hasaki, what's going on, man? And then also the painting here on the axe is pretty nice too. I wanted to point out, you can see it here a little bit, and there's another photo just kind of more focused on it. So to make it look like that's glowing, so you can see there's a number of different colors used in there to give it that sort of gradient effect, as if it were glowing there. So it does look really nice. Second unit straight up Eva. Yeah. So the G Fred, right, was just recently shown off, and I assume that we'll be getting a kit of that. I think that's what the last kind of like mystery kit is that we have at the moment. So we'll be getting a kit of that, I would assume, probably later this year. Hope that me and life are all good. Thank you. Yes, pretty good. Yep. Just like I said at the start, still a little tired from the weekend, but otherwise, yeah, doing well. G-Fred is still a stupid name. I mean, I would assume that there's something more involved with the name that's like short for something or an acronym for something or something like that. That is not just G-Fred, although I don't know. Maybe that's just, that's it. I don't know. Anyway. So very nice work on that. A lot of work to get this thing looking as good as it is. But there you go. Even painted like the backside of the V-fin there, you can see. And all those little details there on the head. Yeah, it's a lot more masking work than I think I would care to do, but even this little bit here on the side of the elbow there with the, like, I don't want to say dark blue, but like there's a very light blue on the inside and then a light blue on the outside and the yellow in between. And all that. It's a metasynthetic variable like Quax. All right. Someone explained both Fred and Quax are computer programming terminology. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. Indeed. Very nice. G-Fred seems to be easier to paint. I don't know about that. I mean, I'll have to look at it again, but it seems like it's not going to be that much easier. But I'll leave it to you to paint that. So that looks awesome. Also shared some work here. Oh, there's one more photo at the end there of the unpainted kit. That one is. And then here on the Gelgoog, you can see he did some work on the eyes. It's painted like a metallic color first, like a color shift blue-green metallic color there, and then pen aligned the part, and then used a UV resin on the top of that to give it more of like a three-dimensional look instead of it being a flat part. So now it has this kind of more like a bubble sort of lens shape to it with the 3D with the 3D resin, UV resin on there. So very nice touch. And I think Mafuyu said that was their first time trying using that, but I think it came out looking really good. So nice, and it would be great to use for stuff like like other different kinds of camera lenses, or like Zaku mono eyes, stuff like that. Kind of in the process of also finishing up work on the Zaku Mariner HG kit and trying to figure out how I'm going to do the mono eye. It's amazing that after many painted model kit, either the Zaku or other different like Xeon mobile suits that have mono eyes, and I still haven't like come down on like a preferred way that I like to do the mono eye on those kits. I feel like every time I do it, I try something different, and I'm never like totally happy with it. So I don't know. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm working on this guy. Got all the decals on, so now it's just time for some like pen aligning and weathering and stuff. So there's I gotta go spray some top coat onto just like the decals. My Zaku Mariner. It's in kind of like a couple different shades of gray, basically, with a very different kind of color scheme for it. So thank you, Mafuyu, for that stuff. Is there going to be any more work done on the Gelgoog, or is that that was kind of the main thing? Just wanted to try that out on the face. What's up, Edgar? We haven't done yours yet, so we'll get to it here in just a minute. Yeah, I see that on the Gelgoog that it's pen aligned. So is that kind of the extent of the work that's going to be done on it for now, or is there more to come on that? To let us know. And in the meantime, I'm going to pull up Edgar's, actually, since he's here. We got a few more yet still to look at. It's going to stay that way. Just pen align and visor change. All right. Well, there's at least the one other version of the Gelgoog that's coming out, and so there'll be other options for painting one. Wonder why they called it a Gelgoog. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, it's a whole topsy-turvy sort of universe, right? So the head does look like a Gelgoog's head, sort of, if you like take off the visor. It does have like the Gelgoog snoot there, sort of, so you can kind of see it. But speaking of Gelgoog, actually, yes, Edgar's build we're going to take a look at here next is a Gelgoog, but a custom one. This is based on a Canon design, though. I can't remember the name of the... let's see, I had it here. The name of the pilot for this one. Where is it? Galdcuries? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sure that I'm not. But it's basically a Gelgoog with the arm swapped for a Gelgoog arm. It is a cool concept. So this is what we saw this as a work in progress, I believe, right on the last episode. And we talked a little bit about this. And I thought it was looking cool. And we talked about how the painting of the like scale pattern was going to go on it. And at first, Edgar was planning to just paint like the scale parts on the Gelgoog arm, but I recommended to extend it to like patches on the rest of the design as well, just to kind of help to kind of blend it all together. And I'm glad to see that worked out really well. Yeah, I think it looks really nice. And this one, let me look back at the email, and Edgar's here, so you can just answer it for us. But I believe this one was used. Let me see. Used a stencil for the snake pattern. Although, what did you use for the stencil for that, Edgar? Because this one, again, doesn't exactly look like it's just like some kind of fishnet or some kind of net kind of thing that's just like stretched over the part and then sprayed. Although it sort of looks like that, but not entirely. So I'm curious as to how this was painted. But yes, the HG Gelgoog Jäger kit with the it's a pre-cut stencil. All right, interesting. So yeah, with basically the main modification obviously just being the arm swap. Yeah, it's Gelgoog Jäger. The whole of the kit is the Gelgoog Jäger, obviously, except for the arm there. And then the sword, which I imagine the sword is from the Goof Custom? Although I don't remember the HG Goof Custom having a clear orange sword. So I'm not sure. Yeah, Edgar can let us know. But yeah, it looks really nice. And I do like the, here we go. Where's the good photo here? So the painting of the scale pattern with like painting the dark purple on top of the light purple, and then also dark purple on top of the like regular purple. So instead of like kind of switching it up, instead of like on dark on light and then light on dark, it kept like the same kind of dark pattern over both different our two main shades of purple there. So sword from the Zogok. Oh yeah, right. Yes, that's true. I always forget that kit exists. Anyway, so yeah, I like that he used like that same like dark purple for the pattern over the whole of the kit. So that looks nice. I don't know why Gelgoog are so big and thick. Well, they're very cool looking. And it looks good. What color did you use for the panel lining? Is the panel lining also done in like a very dark purple kind of color, or is it just black? Either way, I think it looks good, but definitely because you have so much purple going on, it looks like it's maybe just black. But like doing the panel lining like a dark purple also would be kind of cool. But against this like purple here on like the main body, it probably wouldn't be all that visible. Yeah, it's just black. Okay. All Xeon tech combined. This is the perfect form. Yep. Is there another photo showing more of the back side? Not really, just kind of like the side photo here. But I love the backpack of the Gelgoog Jäger as well with the fuel tanks on it. So it's very cool. There you got. He did mention that he went very minimal on the decals, which I think was a good idea. You have like a couple of main ones, especially on an HG. Like HGs, it doesn't like going very minimal on HG kits doesn't necessarily help with like conveying like the realism of this as like a representation of like a full scale like mecha. But usually like going minimum on them just kind of makes me think more of just like that, like this is like a not necessarily like a toy, but like an HG model kit. I think it plays like minimal decals like this really plays into like the look of it being an HG, which is not at all a bad thing. I actually really like that look. So there's a couple of modelers that I follow on Twitter that do stuff like this, where it's just like not like heavy modifications, just like nicely painted HG kits, and usually like not a ton of decals on them. And they just look really nice. So I really like that aesthetic. And so I think the minimal decals on this work well for that. What was I gonna say? Mention about something I just noticed here. Oh, is there pre-shading on this? It sort of looks like the purple. It's kind of a little bit harder to tell on like the body, the darker shade of purple, but on the lighter shade of purple, almost looks like it's pre-shaded a bit. Is that the case? Looks like it might be. In which case, it looks nice. Which version of the Gelgoog do I like the most? Man, I love that high mobility type that we got for the master grade, the Uma Lightnings one. It's pretty dope. But other than that, I mean, I do love the Gelgoog. The Vertex is pretty cool as well. Maybe not necessarily like Johnny Ridden's version in red, but there's some pretty cool versions. Yeah, pre-shading on everything. I didn't want the decals to take away. Didn't want the decals to take away from the. I think like the decals wouldn't have necessarily taken away from the paint scheme if you kept like the decals like pretty small. Use like some really teeny tiny ones. Like that's what I'm using here. I'm gonna switch the camera again here to show you. So like on here on the Zaku Mariner that I'm using, you can see I'm just using like some pretty small decals on there. You can see like a couple just there, like at the top. This is like the front side, so there's a big one on there for that. But otherwise, I'm using like a fair amount of decals, but they're all like really, really super tiny. So it's like taking a long time to put all the decals on there because they're super little tiny ones. But I feel like some like really small decals wouldn't have necessarily been too distracting for this if you wanted to kind of go that route with it, but I think it came out good anyway. Like so, I don't think that it necessarily would have been distracting, maybe to have like a few more here and there. But anyway, I think it looks fine as it is. But yeah, pre-shading on everything that came out good. Yeah, I like it. It's I actually was realizing it before. I was basically kind of saying that it's like 2 shades of purple. I realized that it's actually 3 shades of purple. We have the light, the kind of medium, and then like kind of a different, like a more rich kind of medium purple color. I don't necessarily say dark purple. It's fairly dark anyway. You can see the like a couple little bits here, and it looks like, I'm not sure about the inside of that part too. That might just be like the same sort of medium purple, but no, I think the color choices and everything here looks nice. But so question then is, are you done, or are you going to put this on some kind of base or display or anything for that? Because mean, it doesn't necessarily need anything, but just kind of curious to know if this is like the final display format here for this, just kind of like keep it like that or put it on some kind of display. Do you think we'll ever see an RG Throne Sway or Reborn's Gundam because we still have no RG00 enemy suit? Yeah, Reborn's possibly. Throne's Way, I would say much less likely. Reborns, maybe. I'd say it's much more likely that we would see a Master Grade Reborns before an RG, I feel like. But Edgar said, don't know what to do next with it. I mean, yeah, just on like a base. I mean, I saw there was artwork of this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Gelgoog called, yeah, like the artwork from this game that it was in, right? Let me show you guys. This one here. Maybe some of you have seen it, or maybe not. This one here. So maybe not necessarily like have it like coming out of the water, but basically like up on a base, sort of recreating this kind of pose. Oh, that has that's the beam naginata that it has, isn't it? That's not a sword. Because I thought, wait, the beam's going backwards. So is he just holding the sword backwards? But it looks like it's coming out both ends. So it looks like it's just a blue beam naginata, which is interesting. I wonder if you could get a beam naginata and have one with the clear parts that you could paint it clear purple to match the color scheme. Could be kind of cool. Anyway, anime janai, very interesting. But so yeah, that's the one from the game, which is in a different color too. I mean, you'll notice, and it's the same. So it's like the same design there, but a different color scheme and a little different weaponry and all that. So a little different design, as this one's not based off the Gelgoog Jäger, but just the regular Gelgoog there, it would seem. So anyway, there you go. Yeah, very cool. Thank you. Let's see. We got Genki, Mafuyus, Marines. Let's look at Marines here next. This is another one that we did see work in progress for previously. And I think it was like almost done at that time, but we do now have it finished, done. So we can see here. There's a couple, I think last we saw this, it didn't have any weathering on it yet, I believe. So there's a couple of work in progress photos here showing the weathering process, adding some like chipping on this guy. So if you guys remember, this was the Manrody here, done up again for the snake theme, like so. But we can take a look at some of the work in progress. So some like multicolor shading on that. Basically, I think it looks like it's maybe done with sponge and like either a dark gray or black kind of color there first, and then touched up like, or done with like a second layer, probably with a brush. It looks like for the lighter gray on that. Yeah, Edgar says it was the naginata that the like in-game model had, or the in-game Gelgoog had, but he didn't want to buy another kit just for the sword. The Gelgoog didn't come with the sword. Yeah, the Gelgoog Jäger, right? That one doesn't come with the naginata. Right. Understandable. That said, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have another HG Gelgoog kit. I mean, the more Gelgoogs, the better, I always say. But here you can see a little bit of the work in progress on the weathering. Also weathering on the weapon here, which looks like that's maybe just some dry brushing with either like a gray or silver kind of color there. And also this bright fluorescent kind of rod there is also added. If you go back and look at the original kit, it doesn't have that. It's just an empty space there. So it looks like you just can't tell if that's just cut. That might just be just cut and glued there. I assumed that was like that there was a hole drilled to fit that rod through there, but it looks like that there's not a hole, but that's actually just cut and fit into place there. Interesting. I wonder what that's from. I'm not sure. And then also here you can see what was used. The Mirage Green steel here from HiQ Parts, from HiQ. It's used for the visor on it. And so if we take a look back at the finished kit now, this is the best one to see the visor there. You can see it has that nice shine on it. But so here's the finished product. Yeah, last time we saw it, I think it was not yet weathered, but like the base was pretty much done, the kit was pretty much done, other than just like some final touches, weathering, and some final painting on it. It's not the Fat Gushin rifle, it's this one, just minus the banana clip at the front, and added this part here on the top, that rod there on the top. Also doesn't have this bit there at the back end. So some nice little like kind of simple modifications to the rifle there as well. Nice. Manrody. Yeah, what did I say? Did I say something different? Anyway, Manrody is right. But yeah, we saw a lot of work in progress on this, I think, in the previous episode. But basically, I mean, aside from it just being painted in kind of greenish, snake-like colors, we obviously have the addition of the like commander antenna on the head, and then the main modification is being like the front chest part being reshaped to look like a snake head and mouth there, with the eyes, nose, and teeth there, and this open gap behind the teeth there, sort of looking like a snake's mouth, which you can see kind of from some different angles there. So really, really cool design. Also the kind of extension, yes, snake Rody, exactly. The extension of the legs with like the Manrody, just having these like legs going to feet here, whereas these are not necessarily feet, but just kind of give the legs kind of an appearance of like a snake, like kind of just like a long body. Kind of reminds me a bit of like those like snake toys with like the plastic bits that just kind of move back and forth. Those like super like cheap plastic snake toys, kind of reminds me of that, of just like the segmented like shape to represent the snake's body there. But I like that bit of detail there as well. And a nice display for it, kind of a sort of less common, I think we talked about this in the last episode, but kind of a less common type of pose for this. We don't necessarily see this kind of pose all that often, where it's kind of like flying backwards, firing the weapon, and then also grabbing the sword or the kind of heat axe, whatever, off the back there. And so that's lit up and that's painted in a nice kind of gradient orange there to show that that's kind of ignited, whatever. So very nice. Yeah, and the gradient on it, so just nice painting on that with the gradient green. Just makes it look really nice, and the modifications certainly give it that snaky look. So cool to see this one finished. Got the 4S on there for snake, I guess is what that is. I'm not sure what else the 4 is necessarily for. I'm sure the S is for snake, right? I don't know. Any other guesses as to what the 4? I was trying to think on that. What the 4 would be for. I don't know. You guys have any other ideas? But yeah, very nice work on that. Glad to see that finished. Glad to see that came out so well. So really like that. We'll definitely see that again later. Like I said, when I do like a kind of finished Discord group build of snake builds for this year. At least he's not play a joke with Solid Snake. Yes, some Solid Snake. That could be an interesting idea. I think like when I was trying to think of what I wanted to do for the snake build, I thought about doing like a Metal Gear kit. But yeah, decided to go with something different. So awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen, for that. Good to see that one finished. And that brings us to our last one here we're going to take a look at for today. Is Chris Pabs' build here of not anything snake related, but instead it is his finished 00 Diver Arc build that took way too long. He said it's one of those projects, and I can absolutely relate, where you start a project and you think, all right, this is going to be a nice, fun, quick, simple project, and then it just takes a lot longer than you expected. So that's what Chris had here with his. Let me look back at the email. I know in the email that he sent me for this, it had all the paint information. Let's see. Hadn't seen this kit be customized too much. I really liked the base kit. Saw its potential, so I went with some slight touches to give it a more aggressive and personal look. I think we have some work in progress here as well, I believe. A little bit. Yeah, so we'll take a look at these. Maybe more than a little bit. There's some here on the base as well. While the finish isn't the best, I did have a ton of fun, and it just let me be more creative outside from the larger, more serious projects that I've done for the past couple of years. Yeah, so I mean, if you guys have seen some of the stuff that Chris has been working on, yeah, like I said, for the past couple of years, it's more sort of like 1/100 scale and like resin conversion stuff and things like that. So it was a much kind of smaller project, at least like in like the size. And so I get the enthusiasm for having that chance to try out something a little bit different. So excuse me. Like I said, still recovering from the weekend. This one is not, there's no resin involved with this one. This one's just customized, but you can see here for the base. So this is just like a plot plate here, cut and scribed, and around this glowing bit there in the center to give it this nice display with the G standing for good. Awesome work. Yeah, so then here you can see just like trying out some different poses with it. So it looks like I've seen this finish, but I haven't checked out like all. I think he's shared a lot of photos around social media already, but I don't think I had seen it with the base yet. So I think the base was a later addition. Here you can see it with the UV light too there. One thing that is really cool about that kit is those glowing parts that it has, but it looks like he's got some of the decals also are glowing on there. I'm not sure if that was intentional or just like a happy accident, but works out pretty well. Here you can see, I wanted to see the modifications here first before like really taking a look at it so we can have a better idea. So some scribing here that's the back of the thigh, right? Yep, right there. Here we go, you can see that there. So some scribing on a few bits, maybe it looks like on the back of the leg, this section here too. Some scribing on it, I think this part right here. So some panel lines, scribing on that, some details added here, scribing and adding this like latch detail here on like the side of the front of the ankle armor there. That's pretty nice. Adding to the feet also, I think there was a different photo, or is that it? Yeah, here we go. So where you can see how the foot was modified. Just with some putty there, sculpting that, and then shaping it to make, yeah, it's kind of a larger and longer foot there. Compared, if we go back to the original, you can see it just kind of comes to a point there, but now it's much longer and larger there for the feet. That looks really nice. Some added detail here on the front skirt as well. Let's see if we compare. So again, the original one's just kind of mostly flat there. This giving this little bit of raised profile there on the front. That looks cool. You can see the scribing here on the side and the center part of the back skirt there. That looks nice. And here's the work in progress for that. Very cool. What else can we see here? Scribing on this torso part, on the black part and the blue part there, adding some additional height to that here as well, it looks like, and then also adding this bit of plot plate down the inside. I would assume that's to just fill that gap, because it looks like this blue part maybe just is like kind of cut off right there, and just to kind of make that look like there's not a big gap there. Necessarily adding some plot plate there, adding some plot plate bits here and here on the side of the torso there as well, again just to kind of fill out the details a bit more. And yeah, just like the stacked plot plate to raise the overall profile height. Where are we? Are we going this way or that way? That's the finished kit. This painting of the kit. Wanted to see some more of the work in progress stuff. There you can see how it's looking painted, where those details that we were just talking about here on the front of the chest are painted there in gray, and this part here on the side in blue there just kind of gives some additional detail there for those parts. And that added bit of height there in the torso works out really nicely. Yeah, we were here looking at the feet. And this photo there, right. Adding some plot plate and to the antenna, the V-fin, antenna or whatever. Anyway, they're on the head, and then sharpening that to a point. So I do got con sniffles. It seems like something, yeah. All of a sudden, too. Once I started looking at yours, Chris, it's just like, ugh, it's making me sick. Nah, just need to go blow my nose or something after this. So it'll be done. This is the last one to take a look at here for today, and then I'll go blow my nose. But here you go. This looks like that's just the base unmodified kit. Oh, so the front skirts are completely changed. Okay, so yeah, those are from one of the Exia kits, right? Exia Avalanche or something like that. It's the people background. Makes the nose run. I don't know. But yeah, so there's the original kit. And Chris's. So was that the only part that was like brought in like from a different kit? Is there's parts on the knees as well that are added on it. Those are not also from this kit, right? Looks like in the front skirts. So yeah, I like the change to the front skirts, definitely. That looks nice. 00 diver knees. So there you go. Yeah. These ones here. Exia Avalanche, yeah, for the front skirts. And modified inner frame to accommodate HG00 diver ace pieces. Yes. Gotcha. So yeah, it looks really nice. All right, so let's check out the finished photos then here for this. Very nice. Love how bright that orange pops on it, on a design that's otherwise, I mean, mostly blue and white. So it just kind of has this very overall kind of pretty blue colors. Even the red is there, but like the red doesn't really pop near as much. It's really the orange accents that just like kind of really pop out. So those look really nice. I'd assume a fair amount of fluorescent used for those orange bits. GN Virtua on Kaze Ao. Oh, that's the color he used for that? Yeah, all the colors are in the email. And I would assume that Chris probably has those colors listed probably around on his social media for you guys if you are interested. No, the Kaze Ao would be for the blue color, isn't it? Just looking at the paint list here. Yeah, the Mecha orange is the orange, isn't it? Is there no fluorescent used in the orange? It's not just straight up orange. Gotta be some fluorescent in that, unless just that paint color is just like has fluorescent kind of already in the color. It's already like a fluorescent orange kind of color. What did you say it was? HM 054 Mecha orange. What's HM? That's just orange. It pops. What's HM for, though? Why am I like drawing a blank on what the HM stands for? Anyway, that looks really nice. And then, of course, the Hobby Mio. Gotcha. The green bits in here, too. Also pop really nicely, especially like there in the chest and these bits here on the head and shoulders. Those are really nice. Came out really good. I would say, is there anything else that you mentioned in the email that what was it? I don't want to misquote you. You said the finish isn't the best. And was there anything about the finish that like you didn't find satisfactory? Now that Gaia Note's emerald green is such a beautiful color. I love it. Love that Gaia Note's emerald green. Was there something about the build, that you were kind of like disappointed with? I mean, the finish looks pretty good to me. I would say the black panel lining definitely like matches your style. I feel like that's usually what I'm used to like seeing on your builds. I think it kind of could have looked kind of cool to use like a different like color panel for the panel lining, although I'm not sure exactly what. Maybe just like a kind of grayish blue or something, kind of bluish gray, I guess. Especially like on these white parts. Otherwise, it looks really nice. I noticed the orange V-fin on the right side is not as sharp as the left. Oh, could that just be like the angle? I mean, I see what you're saying here. Is that just because like it's kind of like it's to a point if you view it from the front, but like it's kind of deep. So if you view it from the side, if you see it from this side, you can see that side's also to a point. It's just that it's like deeper than it is narrow. I don't know if that makes sense. Like if you look at my hand like this, right, it looks sharp, but if I just turn it, it's very wide, right? If you just would to see it from a different angle. Had surfacer issues, bad ratio, so it was having to fight adhesion. I wanted more variation in the proportions. While good, I think it could have improved on more bicep armor and needed more detail. I mean, I can see what you're saying, I guess, but yeah, like you're saying with these just kind of like palette cleanser type of builds, I mean, you can't do everything. I mean, like if it's a build where you want to do everything is one thing, but on these builds, I feel like that's what draws them out in particularly longer, is that like you go into a build like this and you want it to just be kind of a quick, fun build kind of in between other stuff. What ends up making it not that is once you start going in and think like, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do this, oh, I could do this, which could make it a better build, yeah, sure. But I mean, if the point is for it to be, just like a fun, quicker build, you kind of have to just say, all right, yeah, I could have done this and this and this, but I have to just be okay with the fact that I didn't do that because that wasn't my goal with this kit. If maybe someday you're like, I want to revisit that kit and like really work on it more, then get another one. Although I know that I think you said you had a hard time getting this one because this kit has not been reprinted. But hopefully in the future it will be reprinted. I mean, yeah, if you really, really want to do another one, you can just get another one. But yeah, so long as, like you're saying, the fun was the priority. So as long as fun is the priority, I mean, you can't really worry too much about all the different things that you could have done with it. So yeah, I think it came out really good, especially the base. I mean, especially for like a kit that was supposed to be just like a fun build. It looks like at least a fair amount of time was spent on this base too. I mean, like it's essentially just kind of your standard cut out and painted like flat plate, nothing like super fancy, but still, I mean, like looks nice, looks really good. What's the box? Is that an IKEA picture frame for the box for the base that I see there, or is that a work in progress for that? I'm curious. It looks very familiar, like these IKEA picture frames that I have just like right here. That's all it takes. You know it. Yep. So anyway, I think it came out great. Awesome build. So what's the next thing on the agenda for you then, Chris? Is it back to 1/100 scale resin stuff after that then? It is a cool kit, I will say, yeah. Like the build fighters, build divers line like generally has a lot of hits and misses, stuff that some stuff looks a lot cooler than others, and it's all kind of all subjective. I mean, like some people might like designs that I don't like or whatever, but 160 resins I feel fun. But that's definitely, I feel like, one of the better, especially in like the later build divers kind of releases that we were getting, and that one was one that I particularly liked as well. It's a really cool kit. And the whole like glowing, like the UV reactive, like clear parts that it has is sort of like ultimately kind of just gimmicky, but it definitely was a cool aspect of that build for sure, of that kit. So anyway, that's it for our Gunpla critique for today. Thank you to all the guys that submitted works for that. And again, just as a reminder, if you want to check out the link to Patreon, it's down there in the video description. If you want to join there, you can check out the different tiers and perks related to that. You can get on our Discord server. You can submit works for Gunpla critique episodes. So check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, just thanks for if you just came to just watch and hang out. Thank you for hanging out. Next live stream will be, I'm not sure, likely will be the Psycho Gundam Mark II live build. Got that over here that I'm kind of working on as well. Yeah, I think that might be that. I do have plans for another episode of Plamo no Trend with Ryan, but I believe we're doing that not this coming Friday, but the next Friday. But this coming Friday, I'll be live with Adam on the USA Gundam TV channel. We'll be live there Friday morning. And then this Saturday is build day here at USA Gundam Store. So if you guys are in the area, we're going to be in the area this Saturday. You can come in here in Daytona Beach. Come visit the storefront. It'll be open, I think it's 11 to 4. Be open there for build day if you want to come hang out. There'll be food, drinks, building, and what is it? What was that thing from the Momokan advertisement, Chris, that we were talking about? Internet celebrity, or what was it? Anyway, internet sensation. Yes, I'll be sensationalizing build day there, at least for part of the day. I'm not sure if I can stay for the whole time because my kids got other stuff going on, and my mom's in town too. So, but I want to go at least for like a couple hours. Yeah. So I will see you guys there if you're going to be there. Post a schedule before would be really helpful. Yeah, I can try Hazaki, but typically it's kind of hard to schedule live stream stuff because it's hard because I work kind of like a day-to-day basis usually, of like kind of trying to see what I can get done in a day, and like it's either a matter of like I'll not get finished what I wanted to get finished in a day, and so it rolls over to the next day, or I do finish more stuff, or like the kind of plans change a lot, so it's kind of hard to schedule live stream stuff. I try to give you guys a little bit of notice, at least for like the live builds, at least like a few hours, or maybe like post like the day before, like I'm going to be live building this tomorrow or something. But it's kind of hard to have like a proper schedule. But anyway, noted. I will think about that some more. Okay, that's it for failed your CPA exam. Oh no, some might miss it, so you need to study some more, maybe to take the test again, I guess. David, sorry to hear that, but you can always take it again, right? Anyway, guys, all right, so that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next time. Thanks again to all my wonderful Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thanks to those that submitted works and everybody else as well. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.